In the heart of Middle-earth's darkest hour, as the Witch King of Angmar fell to the combined strike of Eowyn and Merry, a question lingered in the shadows: what became of the remaining Nazgûl? They had long been Sauron's most terrifying agents, faceless wraiths of despair, their shrieks striking fear into the bravest of hearts. But with their master's downfall, their fates were sealed in ways both expected and mysterious. To understand their fate, we must first trace their cursed origins. The Nine were not always the terrifying specters that haunted the lands of Middle-earth. Once, they were powerful kings and warriors among men, each gifted with one of the rings of power by Sauron's deceptive hand. These rings, while granting them strength and longevity, were also tools of enslavement, binding their souls to Sauron's will. Over centuries, their physical forms faded, leaving behind only cloaked phantoms, bound eternally to their master's dark purpose. Their existence became one of ceaseless hunting, ever seeking the one ring to return it to their lord. They were deathless in a sense, neither living nor truly dead, cursed to walk in shadow. Their only tether to reality was Sauron's power. When he commanded, they obeyed. When he willed them forth, they pursued his enemies. And when he fell, what was left for them but oblivion? With the Witch King's demise at the Battle of the Pelennor Fields, the power of the Nazgûl was weakened. This moment was a turning point, not just for the war but for the very existence of the Ringwraiths. The Witch King, their leader, was bound by a prophecy foretelling his doom at the hands of one not born of man. Struck by Eowyn's blade, bolstered by Merry's enchanted dagger, he was undone. His formless spirit was wrenched from the battlefield, leaving the remaining 8 without their most fearsome commander. Yet they remained dangerous. They continued their assault upon Gondor, their connection to Sauron keeping them in existence. They were not like mortal men who could be slain with steel alone. Their destruction required the breaking of their master's dominion. That moment came when Frodo and Sam reached the fires of Mount Doom. As the One Ring was cast into the flames, Sauron's power was unmade. The Dark Lord himself was utterly vanquished, his presence erased from the world. With his downfall came the unraveling of everything bound to him. The Nazgûl, who had been tied to his will, could no longer exist. In their final moments, they were seen circling Mount Doom in a last desperate act, perhaps sensing their end before it came. When the ring perished, the shockwave of Sauron's destruction tore through the wraiths. The fire and fury of Mount Doom consumed them utterly, their very essence dissolving into the wind like ash. They did not simply die, they ceased to be. Their spirits, long corrupted, could not find peace or another form. They were annihilated, lost beyond the reach of any realm. There are lingering questions and theories among scholars of Middle-earth about whether any remnants of the Nazgûl could have survived in some form. Could they have wandered as weakened phantoms, shadows without a master? Some speculate that their spirits might have been cast into the void, the dark and formless realm where Morgoth, Sauron's own master, had been banished. If this were true, it would mean they remained trapped in an existence of suffering, unable to return but also unable to truly fade. Others propose a different fate, one in which, freed from Sauron's influence, the spirits of the Nine might have sought redemption. However, this seems unlikely, given the extent of their corruption. Unlike Gollum, who was tormented by his dual nature, or Boromir, who found a moment of clarity before death, the Nazgûl had fully embraced their dark path centuries ago. There was no part of them left untainted by Sauron's will. Though the Nazgûl were gone, their impact on Middle-earth was indelible. The terror they had spread lingered in the memories of those who had faced them. Their very existence had changed the course of history, forcing elves, men, and other free peoples to unite against them. Even after their destruction, their legend lived on in stories, warnings against the perils of power and the corruption it brings. Yet, even in their absence, whispers of their fate continued. Some believed that remnants of their spirits could be felt in the ruins of Barad-dûr, where the shadows clung to the stone as if reluctant to let go of the past. Others spoke of eerie winds that carried faint echoes of the Nazgûl's terrifying cries, as though some part of their torment still lingered, bound to the echoes of a lost age. There is also the question of the 9 rings. When the One Ring was destroyed, did their rings perish along with it? Or were they left behind, powerless but still existing as cursed relics of an era long gone? If so, what became of them? Were they buried beneath the ruins of Sauron's strongholds, waiting to be discovered? Were they reclaimed by the forces of good and hidden away to prevent future corruption? Or did they fade into the void, lost alongside their former masters? The Nazgûl were more than just servants of darkness, they were the embodiment of the cost of power. Their fate serves as a grim lesson that even the greatest of men can fall, that ambition can be a curse, and that some paths, once taken, offer no return. And so, the Nine faded into history, their final echoes lost to time. The darkness they served had been vanquished, and Middle-earth was free at last from their terror. But their story remains a haunting reminder of how great kings can fall, how power corrupts, and how even the most fearsome servants of evil are not beyond destruction when the light of hope prevails.